Hey, I'm Charting Man Dan, trader and technical analyst with the Chart Guys. In this video, we're going to check in on the broader market. We have bear control still, but every afternoon is getting a pretty decent bounce, and there's potential bullish patterns forming on the charts. And we're also going to check in on the TLRY cannabis stock that's currently in the middle of a short squeeze, and we'll see what key support and resistance levels remain. All right, so the bears controlled the start of the day with follow through to the lowest levels of consolidation that we've seen in the last few weeks. But it was deja vu, same as yesterday, where just looking at SPY, we had the bounce. The bulls took it until the clock wound down into the end of the day. Overnight, we got the lower high and bearish continuation. And then today, we started the morning week. We bounced all afternoon. We know an hourly lower high is the most likely scenario. The bulls ran out the clock. The bell rings. And we'll see if we drop and pull back overnight again, the same as yesterday. But the hourly downtrend is our guide. And the NASDAQ is doing the same thing. We could see we broke the support level from space that we were talking about yesterday. And that was a nice signal for the bears first thing this morning. There was a decent amount of follow through. Again, nothing huge, but a quick 0.8% drop from that support level breaking. And again, then a bounce into the end of the day, same as yesterday. And now the question is, do we get the lower high overnight? There are bullish patterns forming. Falling wedges are patterns that show us bear exhaustion. You break support right into a bounce, and then you break support right into a bounce. And so looking at our futures charts, there are now falling wedges that we need to be keeping an eye on. The 4-hour on the S&P 500, I'd be looking at it something along these lines, looking for a weekly higher low to try and form. Jungle Funk Joey's been keeping his eye on this, but now the NASDAQ has one forming as well. And again, the futures chart just giving us a little bit more data. And so here's the NASDAQ version. And this is now key to be watching for the rest of the week. We can see that the S&P 500 could just set a lower high overnight and stay within this pattern, as could the NASDAQ. But if this pattern breaks bull, that's the first step towards a weekly higher low. And we know weekly higher lows are the most likely scenario, and we still have EMA 12 support on most of our major sectors. And so this is now the most important pattern for me. We got new information today that makes these patterns more clear. And now into the next 3 trading days of the week, we will see this pattern either break bull or break bear by the end of it. Semiconductors, bear break, no follow through. So daily bear flag confirmed, bulls bought the dip. Again, still hourly downtrends. The bulls must confirm an hourly uptrend. We just had SCMI earnings. Big drop after hours, SMCI, I should say. So big drop there into weekly consolidation after the stair-step bull move. And that may impact some of the AI names. But NVDA had some really nice volatility today. And bulls held support. So semiconductors broke support with no follow-through, SMH. NVDA held support. The key support for NVDA was we were watching this hourly equilibrium. I think I talked about that in the video yesterday. And it broke bear. And it was a nice fake out where we had a bull news reaction. It took us right up to the high of the day resistance where we failed. And then we just free fall, 2.5% drop, straight drop down to the lows. And so played a little bit. I actually attempted to go long a little bit too late. Bailed for a quick little loss and then flipped short. And then there was another short. This was a good example of previous support acting as resistance. Look at this base of support. 445 to 446, just a wall of support all morning. You fall through it and look at where the bounce rejected. We were just sitting there waiting. We're watching the 5-minute stair-step pattern. We know a 5-minute lower high is the most likely scenario. So some of us shorted in the 445s. Take some profit into the pullback, knowing a 5-minute higher low is most likely. And then I got stopped out my last third position when we did get the bull break to the higher high there. But just a really nice example of previous support acting as resistance and aligning with the most likely scenario, which was a 5-minute lower high. Healthcare bulls still in full control. There was some earnings reaction, and that definitely helped with the gap up open. Again, bulls trying to form the weekly higher low off EMA 12. We will have to confirm the daily uptrend for confidence in that, but we now have space for a daily higher low to be the most likely result of the next pullback. So the bulls will need to confirm the daily uptrend. And then the weekly higher low would be set. So we'd have space now after a significant couple percent bounce the last couple of days. The financial sector technically confirmed a daily downtrend, but bulls bought that dip. Significant bounce on the hourly. If we confirm an hourly uptrend tomorrow, we'll call it a bear break with zero follow through, which will still be keeping the potential weekly bull flag alive. I did stop out a remaining KRE swing position. We'll see if that stings, if we get continuation for the bulls, but that happened to ARKK. Stopped out here. Oh man, thank goodness. So, financial sector bulls bought the dip. And again, it's just a lot of dip buying. Yes, the bears have had short-term control. Yes, we have an hourly downtrend in SPY and QQQ, but every bear break is leading to 4+ hours of bouncing. IWM, bear break, solid bounce. If the bulls confirm the hourly uptrend, we'll be keeping an eye out for a potential weekly higher low. If weekly EMA 12 is support, IWM is a potential cup and handle. So that's on the table as well. And if the financial sector is a weekly bull flag, IWM is likely a weekly bull flag. So again, we're at a standpoint right now where we can say, yes, we lost the daily uptrend for the first time in 3 months. Yes, the bears have had more control over the last week plus than we've seen in the last 3 months, but there's still not any major red flags. We're not seeing all sectors dropping at the same time. It's gotten close a couple of times. I'm watching a hummingbird right now. It's gotten close a couple of times, but again, there's still an aspect of rotation going on between our major sectors. There were a few times all sectors were at the low at the same time in the last week, but I just need bears to prove it. Bears prove to me that these are not weekly bull flags, and they're not doing that at the moment. The reason for the big gap down on the financial sector, forgot to mention, is Moody downgraded a whole bunch of banks, and so that led to weakness. Tesla daily inside bar. It too looks like a falling wedge where we have a bear break straight into a bounce, bear break trying to go straight into a bounce. PLTR, bearish earnings reaction. We bounced right off daily support. So we had a double bottom at $16 and we were in free fall. The hourly RSI was really beat up. The 15-minute RSI was in the teens. We bounced off 16.10 and the bulls then enjoyed a solid 7% bounce or so. AI, daily inside bar. So again, just not the kind of, fear, right? Fear. There's no fear in the market right now. There's consolidation. Yes, consolidation and fear are two very different things. MARA. So crypto stocks getting a decent bounce from the weakness yesterday because Bitcoin broke our 12-hour falling wedge bullish. MARA earnings reaction after hours is a non-event. It did report. It did miss a bit, but clearly not reacting much. So watching for weekly higher lows on our crypto stocks. They're currently holding weekly EMA 12, watching Coin, MARA, and Riot, all trying to shape up those weekly higher lows. And if we look at MARA divided by Riot, it shows us that they're doing the same thing, and we'll be watching for a break of this range to tell us who's stronger and who's weaker sometime in the next week. TLRY short squeeze. So there was a news headline. They bought some micro brews, and the news is just a reason. We're not up 25% because this is really bullish news. We're up 25% because this is a short squeeze. And the short squeeze started on the earnings reaction. So it started on the earnings reaction. We double topped at 255. As I kept saying, the bull move up is great. You must confirm the daily uptrend. And so once we did that, the break at 255 today was the go signal for bulls. And what that does is it leads to a ton of people buying the resistance break, and it leads to a bunch of short covering, and you then get this huge move and huge volume. This is, almost $400 million plus traded today. And that is 4 times the average. So again, you look at this candle and go, wow, they must have really bullish news. It's not bad news, but that's not the reason for this move. It's the underlying mechanics of supply and demand. And at this point, this is the most convincing weekly bounce that we've seen this year. And now it's all about monthly EMA 12. Look at the last couple of bounces. Topped out at monthly EMA 12, topped out at monthly EMA 12, and we're right there. We got a lot of time left this month, multiple weeks. Key short-term support is 282. That is our hourly high or low. If the bulls are going to keep their complete control tomorrow, you got to hold 282. If you lose 282, it's the first indication that the momentum is slowing. You need to determine what time frame matters most to you. Is it the hourly? If you're a bit late on this move, or if you want to be really protective of profits, it's the hourly uptrend that you care about. If you want to give a longer leash and you want this move to play out a bit, then you're going off the daily time frame, knowing that when we top out, we're going to form a daily high or low as the most likely scenario. You just have to be prepared. That might be a 10% plus drop. So are you willing to sit through a 10% plus drop in daily consolidation, or do you want to lock in your gains before then? As far as resistance, after 308, the next level that we're looking at is 313, and then it's fairly limited until 359. We're not seeing an after hours run up here, which we know the Reddit, I know Reddit is on this name. Wall Street Bets, this is definitely a ticker that people are watching there. And it has led to a little bit of sentiment in the other names. You look at CGC, and we'll be in a little green day today. So it led to some green, but it's clearly TLRY focused. MSOS, little bit of green, but best case scenario would be, TLRY keeps running significantly to keep getting people interested in the headlines and the gains. Profits rotate around throughout the sector, but that remains to be seen. At the moment, it is definitely a TLRY-centric story, not a sector-wide story. And with regards to giving it a longer leash, that's what I did with these Chinese stocks. So I did exit the exposure that I have in these Chinese names, BABA, and I was trying to give it a long leash to let the monthly chart play out. But if you lose the daily uptrend and you're heading into earnings, I'm just going to sit earnings out. I'm not going to take the coin flip gamble there. Up 10% on the position, locking that 10% in. Yes, I left another 8% on the table, but I'm okay with that because my guide was the daily uptrend. I will hold as long as there is a daily uptrend. And when that is your mindset, you're not going to nail the top because you're going to lose the daily uptrend a bit off of that top. And so I'm going to patiently wait and see what the earnings reaction is, but knowing bigger picture on BABA, plenty of space for a weekly high or low. And if we hold EMA 12, it's going to be healthy weekly consolidation just under a double top of 105 and essentially 103. So not game over, but I'm locking in my profits and viewing things from a fresh, clean slate after we get a BABA earnings reaction. And most of the other ETFs, FXI, KWEB, they all broke their daily supports. And again, if the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 give us a 4-hour falling wedge into a weekly higher low, then we know these names will likely give us weekly higher lows as well. And China had a big miss in imports and exports. They've also got CPI numbers coming out, so a lot of headlines, which is why I'm A-okay going back to cash in these names for now. The dollar tested daily resistance and rejected, but it's only going to be a meaningful rejection if we lose 4-hour uptrend support. And there's a lot of space for it to form. We would have to form the higher low, confirm the 4-hour downtrend, then we'd say, okay, that's a convincing rejection. But too easy for the bulls to just form a higher low and then look for that break. More follow through needed. The metals are staying weak. Gold back down at the lows. Silver continues to lead the way down. Again, it's risk off in the metals right now. XAU USD, XAG USD shows us that gold is significantly gaining against silver. Miners, bear break of the daily bear flag, and we got down and touched the lowest level that we've seen in 5 months today in these miners. So these metals and miners will remain weak as long as the dollar is remaining in a strong daily uptrend. Oil, bulls bought the dip significantly, right off daily EMA 12 yet again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times now, and back up at that high. Space for a 4-hour higher low on consolidation, and no red flags. I was watching for the potential of a 12-hour head and shoulders, and technically it's still possible, it's just a lot less likely after the size of this bounce. And natural gas up testing that daily resistance still. but no break yet. Still holding strong. And that's where we stand. So overall, short-term bear control still, but knowing weekly higher lows are the most likely scenario, we're watching these falling wedges to see if they continue to shape up. If they do shape up, I like weekly higher lows in the crypto stocks. I like weekly higher lows potentially in the Chinese names, depending on Baba earnings reaction. A weekly higher low in AI. So a lot of weekly higher lows to be watching for. As long as we continue to see rotation, bounces after support breaks, and a lack of fear. And for me, the definition of fear is all major sectors hitting the lows at the same time, increasing bear volume, and weak bounces, bear flag bounces. Appreciate you watching. Do good things. You look at this and you say, oh man, a bunny ate my beet. What am I going to do about these bunnies? I got to build a chicken wire fence around the base, and I got to get a dog to get rid of the bunny. No, just shut up and eat the beet. You juice the beet, you eat the beet, whatever. Grow up.